guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how you can access database files and databases and whatnot and be able to put data in them and take data from them using Delphi. It's going to be a very basic, somewhat primitive example just for total beginners who have never messed with it before. We're going to be using SQLite, so our own locally hosted SQLite database file. So let's go ahead and get going. We're going to change the form's caption real quick to Delphi database example. And we're going to choose a theme. So let's go to project options. And once this comes up, we're just going to use just a nice darkish looking theme. We'll just use Windows 10 Slate Gray. And then we're going to need to grab ourselves a connection. So we're going to use a uni connection to connect to the database, and we're also going to need a query to be able to query and grab stuff from the database as well as put stuff to it using that as well. And we're also going to need to put down some components like buttons, an image, and a couple of edit boxes and labels, because we're going to do kind of like a username password type thing just to make it interesting. So let's go ahead and grab our SQLite Uni driver, which we're going to be needing in order to have a driver to the database that actually works. So there's that. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves an SC image component. Throw that down on there. And we're going to need a button, a couple of buttons actually. So this button will just be for the avatar itself. So we'll just do choose avatar. And that'll be like a browse button so you can browse your avatar. And then we're going to go ahead and grab a couple of labels. So just grab an SC label, throw it down, copy it, paste it, throw it underneath the other one. This is going to be username, just like that. And then this one here can be password, just like that. And make sure those are kind of lined up nice and neat. Go ahead and grab ourselves a couple of edit boxes. Actually, we'll just use one edit box, and then for the other, since it's a password, we want to kind of hide it, at least on the graphical interface. We're not going to encrypt it in the database or anything. We're keeping this simple and stupid for people. But we are going to go ahead and grab an SC password edit box, so at least that way it's masked when you type it in. Alright, so now then, we need another button. So we'll grab another button, and I'm just going to put this here. We're just going to call that save or something. So look for the caption property of the button, and we're going to just put save. And that's all there is to it. Okay guys, our basic user interface is made up. We will go ahead and change the icon of the application. So let's go to my desktop, and then let's find our stuff here. We'll put this as an icon. Now it looks like a database type thing. Okay, cool, great, wonderful. So the first step in doing any of this is to create a database file, which I actually already really have. So let me show you that real quick. Open up NaviCat. It's a very cool program for helping you design databases very rapidly, very quickly. I'm going to do SQLite, and we're going to make a new thing called YouTube DB connection example, whatever. And we're going to use an existing file, which I've already created for us, and that's going to be right here. So let's go to this YouTube database example, make sure all files are available. And what we will do, let's go to my database example, copy that, because we're going to use the same file. And we're going to paste this bad boy right here, and then open it up and hit OK. So now we have a database connection to this file, and there's something called users table. So we have a database with one table in it called user table. And yeah, so we have username, password, and avatar. So the username is a string type. Password is also a string type, or a varchar. And then avatar is a blob stream. So it can have different types of data thrown into it. The data in particular that we'll be throwing into it is going to be binary data in the format of either like a JPEG, a PNG, or any image type. So with these three things in mind, that's all we have to do is just inject a username, a password, and an avatar. It's that simple. So whenever the program starts, we're going to go to onCreate. And on create, that's where we're going to be doing a little bit of work here. We're going to have to create a way for the program to find that database and connect to it. So the first thing we really need to do is go ahead and go to Project, Resources and Images, where then we're going to add that database file by choosing any file. So we're going to basically take the database, inject it into our exe as an executable resource. So wherever your program goes, as long as you have the exe, the database is going to be inside of it, okay, to start with. So we're going to hit open on that, and we're going to call this database, just like that. And then we're going to hit OK. And we're going to hit OK again. So now the database file is actually injected inside of our executable, okay? So what we have to do at this point is go to the onForm create event procedure. So this is when the program first loads, something's going to happen. And what we're going to tell it to do, we're going to tell our program, look, we want you to reach into your executable, into yourself, and pull out the database file and slap it to the hard drive somewhere. That way we can access it, okay? So to do this, we're going to put db file is equal to a string, and the resource stream is a t-resource stream. And then we're also going to need a file stream, which is going to be a t-file stream. So now we're going to start programming a little bit. So down here underneath the begin, we're going to set our db file. So our db file is going to be equivalent to extract file path application.exe name plus db.db. So now that we have the file created, or at least the file path extracted, it's time to check to see if it exists. Because if the database file does not exist, we're going to have to obviously make the database file by dragging it out of our exe and actually placing it to the hard drive, right? Follow me so far, guys? So let's check to see if the database file exists or not. So if not, if it does not exist, file exists, and then db file. So if the file does not exist, then we need to begin doing something. And that begin and end is going to be creating a resource stream, digging into our own butt and pulling out the database file out of our exe's butthole and putting it to the hard drive, and there you have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say extract the database file from our own .exe. So we're going to simply put res stream is equivalent to t-resource stream.create, and then we're going to do the instance of our application, so h-instance, and then we're going to call, we're going to look at what we called our database resource, which is just called capital D in database, and that's it. It's just database, the word, and then this is an RC data type inside of our executable resource. So now we're going to try something. We're going to say file stream equals t-filestream.create, and we're going to create on this instance database. Actually, sorry guys, getting ahead of myself. Basically what we got to do is db file here, and we're going to do fm create the file. So it's going to be creating the file to the hard drive. Then we're going to do another try statement, and we're going to do file stream.copy, and this will be a copy from. So we're going to copy from the resource stream to the res stream.size, So from beginning to end, okay? Then we are going to finally file stream.free, and then down here on the bottom one, we're going to free the resource stream. So reststream.free, and that is that. So now we officially have our application saved, or our database saved from our butt, right, down into the hard drive disk and whatnot. So at this point, we can come down here and we're going to continue programming. So now that we've determined that if the database did not exist, we simply extracted it to the disk, and if it did exist, then this will not even execute at all, and we'll just skip down to here. So now that we know our database exists, we're going to connect to the database using UniDac components. Self.uniconnection1.provider name is equal to SQLite, just like that. Self.uniconnection1.database, which is a string, is going to be equivalent to our DB file that we extracted and put on disk and all that good stuff. And then we're going to take its login prompt property and set it to false, because we don't want the UniConnection thing popping up and asking us, hey, do you have a login for this database, et cetera, et cetera? No, we don't give a shit. We don't care about that. Self.uniconnection1.login prompt is equal to false. So now we can go down and say to connect it. So self.uniconnection1.connect. And it's that simple, guys. You're done. You're connected. Yay. At this point, we can go ahead and stop for now. And just give this thing like a build and a run. So I'm going to build it real quick. So what it's actually doing, the IDE, the compiler, is actually going out, grabbing that database file, shoving it into the exe with the name that we gave it, which is called database, as our resource name. So here, let me show you that again. If you go to Project, Resources, and Images, you'll see that there's the database file injected into the exe, and its identifier name is database, right? So now if I run this, you're going to see what will happen. Here, let me go ahead and pull this up in Explorer real fast. So let's go to Win32 debug. And as you can see, there's no database file in here anywhere. You see that? There's no database file, just a bunch of DCUs and an executable for our program. Now, if I run our program, it says database is not found. So that means that we need to probably delete all this stuff and then recompile. So let's go here, make sure that this is set to debug and this is set to Win32. We're going to go ahead and build. And then we're going to try to do this again. I'm actually going to try to run it from here, and it looks like it worked. Okay, great. So let me show you that debug folder again. See, now there's a DB file there. So let me delete the DB file, so it's gone. So now it's just a bunch of DCUs and an exe. Let's go ahead and double click the exe and see what happens. And as you can see, it extracts the database from itself. And here's our program running. You see that? So now it is actually fully connected to the database as well. Now, to show you that this actually did work, what we could actually do is come down here and say if self.uniconnection1.connected is equal to true, and I'll try to separate that out a little better, then we can begin changing the caption of the form. So this was called database Delphi database example. So we can say self.caption : equals Delphi database example plus, and then we can put like something like this. Let's put connected to database, and then we'll just do like that. So let's just see if this actually does roll with it and actually work. And as you can see, it does. So if I drag that out, you'll see it's connected to the database. All right, guys, so we'll leave that as is. So now that we have been able to successfully create a database, extract it from ourselves, connect to it, now it's time to start doing some really cool stuff. So we need image dialog. So let's grab ourselves an image, look around for the open image. I think it's called image open or something like that. I'll just do open and we'll find it from here. Here is the open picture dialog. So that's what we're going to be using when we choose our avatar, and then we will inject the username and the password into the database when we hit save, along with the avatar blob stream. Okay, so since we have that, let's go ahead and get started. So basically what I'd like to do is on the choose avatar button, we're going to put self dot, and then we're going to look for that open picture dialog1.execute. So if it executes successfully, then begin and doing something. So now that we have actually executed this properly, we should have an image selected, and we're just going to do self.scimage1.picture.load from file, and that's going to be self.openPictureDialog.filename, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so save that. Now we've got it to where we have a picture saved in there, and then we need to go ahead and learn how to inject data into the database. So if you guys remember, if I pull this up here real quick, you'll see that we have one table in this database called user table with a capital U and a capital T. So capital U in user, capital T in table, and it's all one word. So this is the table we need to lock onto. And then these are the values inside the table's row. So there's username, password, and avatar. Now we're only going to want to have one user in here at a time. So we're also going to have to do some stuff like limiting with SQL. So just try and pay attention, guys. We're going to go ahead and click on the save button and start programming. So inside of this, we're going to have to create an avatar stream for our avatar. It's going to be a memory stream. So we're going to call this avatar stream, and it's going to be type tMemory stream. Okay? So now what we're going to essentially do is we're going to create that memory stream. Avatar stream equals tMemory stream.create. And then we're going to come down and try doing some stuff. So we're going to try to save the image data from the picture component to the memory stream we created. So then we're going to say scimage1.picture.save to stream, and that's going to be avatar stream. So now we have saved the image that we selected onto the image here into our memory stream, and we're going to inject it into the database. So now that we have that, let's go down below this line. So we have that saved to the stream. We're going to try something else. So let's Control D that out. We're going to try to essentially check. We're going to delete anything and everything from the database because we only want to keep one user in there anyway. Okay, so we're going to say delete all rows and all users from the database. So we're going to just say uniquery1.sql.text, and that's going to be equivalent to delete from user table. And yes, you do have to make sure it's spelled correctly, and yes, you do have to make sure it's capitalized in the proper places because it is case sensitive. We're going to uniquequery1.execute that SQL statement, and then we're going to come down and say insert data into the users table using our parameters. So remember, we have three parameters here, guys. We have username, password, and avatar. So the quickest way I know to do this is just to put uniquequery1. Just do uniquequery1 dot and then sql.text equals. We're going to insert a SQL statement here. So we're going to insert into user table, and then we're going to put the username and the password and the avatar, and the values that we're going to be putting those in for are going to be username and then password, and then avatar. And that's all there is to it, guys. So now down below, we need to add these parameters up by putting them in for the statement to be executed. So uniQuery one dot param by name is going to be equal to username. Okay. Dot asString is going to be equivalent to SQLite1.text, which is on our main form here. So if you look, this is where we're typing in the user's name, right? So now we're going to do the password next. So let's go ahead and copy this because I'm lazy and I don't want to write it again. And this is going to be password. So password asString is equal to something else. And I can tell you that's scPasswordEdit1.text, because that's the field for the password, which is this component down here called scPasswordEdit1. So we're taking that, and it's going to go in there. And now, the third one is, see, we have username, password, and then we need avatar, which is a type of blob stream. So we're going to do uniQuery1.param by name, same as we did before, avatar, and then we'll do dot load from stream, because this is an avatar stream, right? We're loading it from our avatar stream, and we're injecting it into the database as an FT blob stream. So that should do. Now we want to execute this query. So uniQuery1.execute SQL. And that is all there is to it, guys. That should execute the SQL command. So let's take this part out and keep programming. So down below here, we want to put an except, and then we'll put on exception do begin. And for this, we're just going to show message something went wrong. If we need something a little more fine-tuned later, if something did ever go wrong, we could simply figure it out and put something there better. But in this case, we're not going to worry about it. We are going to create a finally down here after this ending point here. So let me Control D this, make it look a little bit more nice. And in the finally statement, which we also need to put another one here, let's get rid of this and put us an end there. So now in the finally statement, we can put avatar stream.free and free up our memory, and then we're going to lock all the controls. So lock the forms controls so the user cannot add more stuff until the program restarts. Self.scEdit1.enabled is equal to false. Self.scPasswordEdit1.enabled is equals false. Self.scButton1.enabled equals false. Self.scButton2, which is going to be right here, .enabled equals false. So this is just going to disable stuff where you can't do anything with it. So if I were to run this right now, let's actually give it a test run real fast. So if I choose an avatar, and I'll choose my BitmasterZor avatar. I forgot to put the image to stretch. Let's do that real fast, guys. Click on the image, go all the way down in the properties till you find the stretch thing here, the property. Turn it to true, and then you can run your program again. So if I choose my avatar as BitmasterZor, and then I'm just going to type in RRR and AAA or something like that. So it looks like it worked. So as I saved it to the database, nothing happens. I can't really do anything with the program now because I locked all these up. So if I close it out and I reopen it, nothing's going to happen. You're going to see that there's nothing here. Okay, so this is a problem. We want to be able to load the database at runtime, and if there is a user in the database, we want to pull their info out here so we can see it. So this is how you load from a database, right? But before we go that far, I'm going to open up the Navicat editor, and we're going to go close this connection, open a new SQLite connection to our database that's currently in development, if you will. So we're going to load this up and call this runtime database like that, and then we're going to select the actual Win32 debug version of this database that we're messing with. So we're going to hit OK, and this is our runtime database. We're going to double click to connect to it, go into the users table, and look at what we put in there. As you can see, the username RRR that I typed is already in there, and the password AAA is in there in clear text. We can also encrypt that, but we're not going to. This is just a basic example. And there's our blob stream data. Now you can actually take this blob stream data and save it to your disk, and it will turn it back into an image, just so you know. Pretty cool, right? So, but I'm not going to do that. But the thing is, it is working. But when we run the program for the first time, like right now, if I clicked run, we want it to be able to look at this table. So look at the user table and say, hey, is there somebody in here? Yes or no? And if there is somebody in there, we want it to automatically pull their username and their password and the image data and throw it back to the form. So that's what we're going to work on right now, okay? So let's go ahead and let's make a new procedure to do this. So as you already well know, when the program runs, we already create the database resource and extract it from ourselves and put it to the disk, and then we connect to the database. And then we check it to make sure we're connected, and we show connected to the database and the caption and whatnot. And here, I'll make this a little bit wider so we can instantly see that. Here, I'll run it, and you guys will see that it is connected to database. Okay. Let's try and pull this down a little bit. Try to pull that like right there. See if I run it now. It looks a little better, maybe. There we go. Much better. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's add in this extra step. So we're going to have to do something. I can tell you it's going to have to be done right here. Check for existing user in database, and if there is an existing user, pull their data to our form. So we're going to have to get to work right here. But in order to do that, I think it'd be better if we simply made a new procedure for the top of the code here. So let's make a new procedure for this. And we're just going to call this load user data. So load user data, and that's all there is going to be to it. So now we're going to come down, and before we do anything else, we're going to put a procedure right here. So procedure load user data, and that's going to be a begin and an end. Okay, so in this procedure here, let's copy that. Paste it right there. That should work. Let me make sure I didn't accidentally misspell something. No, it looks good. Seems to be good. I just forgot to put a tform1 here because it's owned by this. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, what we got to do is we have to look into the database, and we have to see if there's somebody there. And if there is somebody there, we're going to have to load their info, and we're going to have to show that on the main form right here, right? So this is probably the most amount we're going to be programming in this damn thing. This is probably the simplest thing I know to do. Let's just create a blob field. So this is a tblob field. And now we're going to create a stream, which is going to be a tmemory stream, and then a picture, which is going to be a tpicture. Okay, so now that we have that, we can start programming. So we're going to literally put, in, if not uni query one dot is empty, meaning that there was a query found. So because from our prior experience of what we did on form create, we should already know once we've ran this here. Let me find this code real fast for you guys. So what we'll do is we'll connect in, and we're going to check this. Actually, no, we didn't do that. So it would be a good idea to actually do that. Here, I'll tell you what, guys. We'll make it simple. We'll just do our own query here. So before we do the is empty, we're going to make a query. So we're going to check if user table exists, and that'll be that. So uniQuery1.sql.text is going to be equivalent to select name from SQLite master, where type is equivalent to table, and name is equivalent to the user table. That should do. Now we'll open the query. uniQuery.1.open, and that should do it. So now we're going to try doing this. We're going to try if the uniQuery is not empty, or so if it's not empty, then begin, and we can do something in here. So now uniQuery1.close. Then we're going to say uniQuery1.sql.text is going to be equivalent to select all from user table. We're going to limit it to 1 because we only have one person in there anyway. I hope you guys are kind of getting the gist on that. uniQuery1.open. So now that we've closed it, we've reset the SQL text to whatever we're trying to look for, and we've reopened our query, we can proceed. So now that it's open, we're going to put if not, uniQuery1.is empty, then begin. So now that we're down this far, we'll put display our users found data. So we'll put self.scedit1.text will be equivalent to uniQuery1.fieldByName, and it's going to be their user name field.sString. And it's that simple, guys. So we are going to put this again. So there's the that and that. So we're actually going to do the password edit text to this. So self.sc password edit1 dot text is going to be equivalent to field by name password as a string. And then we're going to have to load the data from our blob stream. So the next order of business is to load the avatar blob stream image from the database onto our form. So for this, we'll put blob field will be equivalent to uniQuery1.fieldByName avatar, and we're going to do this as a tblob field. If not, blob field.is null, which means nothing is there, then we can begin. Control D that out. So now that we have access to the blob stream from the database and we know it's not null, which means there has to be something there, then we're going to create a stream. So stream equals tmemory stream dot create here tmem dot create. Okay, so now that we created the memory stream, we have to create our picture. Now that we've created the picture, we have to try some stuff. So we're going to try to say the blob field dot save to stream, and this is just going to be our stream. So we're saving the blob stream image data to our stream, And then we are going to set the stream's position to 0. And then we're going to say picture.save.load from stream rather. So let's load from stream. So now we've set our picture to that. And then we're going to say scimage1.picture dot assign a persistent, which is going to be a persistent picture. And then finally, we're going to stream.free, and we're going to picture.free. And that should be it. So at this point, let's come on down here, guys, and I think it's this one here. It needs to be done a little better. Let's do this. So for this, what we can do is else begin, and then we will do show message user table does not exist, something like that. And that should do. Let's get rid of this. I'm not sure why I'm getting an error. Probably put it in the wrong spot. Let me see what I've done here, guys. Let's do this. No, that was actually pretty much that. Yeah, I just had it in the wrong spot. Okay, guys. So there you have it. And that's pretty much it. We just want to take this out. I don't know why I repasted over that shit. But there you have it. So if I run this now, we should be able to, nothing happened because I forgot to put this where it needs to go. So now that we've wrote a procedure to handle all this stuff, we need to make sure to put the load user data in the proper place. So whenever the form gets created and it extracts the database from itself and it looks at it and it connects to it and it does all this, then we need to call that procedure so that it looks for anyone that's currently in there. And if so, it pulls them and pulls the data to the form. So if I click run, it automatically pulls the database, makes sure it's connected, and then it pulls my info. See, look, see that? It says RRR and whatever my password was. So check this out. If I change this to QQQQQ and then QQQQ, and then I change my avatar to something spacey-like, and I hit save. So now that I've went ahead and saved that, I will close this out, and if I run it again, boom, there you have it, guys. See? It pulls right from the database. So that's it, guys. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys understood. The files for this will be saved, and you'll be able to download them if you need any assistance with this. Just download the project files from the link in the description, and then kind of give it a quick overview. This is extremely basic code, guys. Nothing spectacular. The reason I'm even doing this is because somebody asked me, they wanted to know how to connect to a database in Delphi, and you can connect to pretty much any single database in the world with this component, the UniDac suite. It's literally like write code one time and produce anywhere type stuff. You can literally write the same exact code for every single database in the world. That's what makes these components so special. Being able to simply write code and know it's going to work with any database in the world is awesome. So anyway, that's that. And with that being said and done, guys, I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope that you guys learned quite a bit from this, and I hope I explained it enough as I went along. You may have to look a little bit closer at some of the stuff that I did here and understand SQL just a little bit to understand what I did here and how I did the type of table and the name of this. But it's very basic stuff, guys. I mean, if you know anything about SQL, this is baby easy, like dead serious. Nothing hard about it whatsoever. And I just want you guys to understand also that you can take this example to new heights. Like, it doesn't just have to be some basic crap where you put in a username and a password and an image. You guys could do anything with this. For example, you can make like a highly sophisticated logon system where you have barcode scanners and all sorts of crazy crap. It's unreal. Sky is the limit, guys. You could literally write your own chat program and have like offline logs with the database file. So the server has access to the database, and whenever you're talking to somebody, say they had to go somewhere or something and they closed out or logged out of the client, then you're still typing to them. You can make the connection and the query continuously put data that you type into them in offline mode, so that when they do get home and they turn on their client and connect to the server will query the database for them and find your username and say, hey, this guy sent you messages while you were away. You kind of get my point? You can do like tons of stuff with databases. It's really cool. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys, and I will hit you up in the next video. Not quite sure what I'll be doing, but if you guys need anything, please ask and I'll write it up for you. Peace out.